Welcome back to another explainer where we take a visual approach to unpacking some truly fascinating research. Today, we're diving headfirst into the intense, highly complex, and frankly wild world of amateur digital detectives. We're going to look right past those sensational true crime headlines and actually uncover the science, the sociology, and the psychology behind internet sleuthing.
So let's be real for a second and put ourselves in the shoes of someone falling down a late-night internet rabbit hole. I'm sure most of us have been there, right? You read a strange headline, you click a link, open up a forum, and suddenly, bam, 4 hours have passed. You aren't just reading a story anymore. You're actively hunting for clues, analyzing blurry photos, and piecing together timelines like you're on the payroll. It feels like harmless curiosity. But as we're about to see, when millions of people do this collectively, it transitions from a casual hobby into a massive cultural force that can both help and seriously hinder real-world investigations.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the Cecil Hotel Mystery.
To really wrap our heads around this internet phenomenon, we have to look at the spark that lit the modern digital fire. Now, the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles already had this incredibly dark reputation. It housed serial killers like Richard Ramirez back in the day. But in early 2013, a young student named Elisa Lam checked in and just vanished. When the LAPD released that strange, eerie elevator surveillance footage of her, it absolutely blew up online. Millions of amateur detectives' minds went running in a million different directions. Tragically, her body was discovered weeks later, but for the internet, the investigation had only just begun.
Moving right along to Section 2, defining the internet sleuth.
Now, a lot of pop culture documentaries focus heavily on the sensational, crazy parts of these cases, but we want to look at the actual science behind this collective behavior. Who exactly are these people? Well, to find out, we're leaning on a super rigorous 2024 PhD thesis by Teka Q. Paninsky out of the University of Johannesburg. This research really moves us past the hype and gives us a genuine, academic understanding of what's happening behind the keyboards.
So there are two crucial terms we need to nail down here. First up, internet sleuthing. This isn't just skimming the news. It is private citizens actively gathering publicly available information to try and solve crimes themselves. And to understand why they do it, we turn to cyber psychology, basically the study of human interaction in cyberspace. It shows us exactly how digital true crime fans blur the lines between passive consumers and active investigators, forming this really powerful collective identity.
Which brings us to Section 3, down the rabbit hole. Seriously, what drives a casual reader to spend thousands of hours digging into cold cases? The sleuth's journey is incredibly immersive. Researchers note that lay terms like obsession and addiction completely hit the nail on the head when describing that intense curiosity pulling people in. It's literal rabbit hole behavior. What starts as just a casual interest transforms the individual entirely. They stop just consuming media and start actively producing it, becoming heavily, deeply invested in the outcome.
And that flows right into Section 4. Seeking safety and connection.
Because here's the twist. Beyond the morbid thrill of the chase, there is a surprisingly human motivation at the core of all this. The researcher calls it radar theory. As one sleuth perfectly described it, their true crime fascination acts as, quote, a kind of quiet beacon so we could spot each other in the wild. These sleuths aren't just out there solving crimes. They are actually seeking kinship and building safe, supportive communities with like-minded people across the internet.
And inside these digital communities, it's like a mini society with strict hierarchies. You've basically got two camps. You're viewed favorably if you're a collaborative team player, someone working with the group to help build a care network. But if you're just out for fame, recognition, or trying to beat others to the punch, you get labeled a maverick or a glory seeker, someone who actually hinders the real pursuit of justice.
Now, to validate their intensive, round-the-clock efforts, these communities often construct very specific narratives about actual law enforcement. They frequently label the police as simply incompetent, accusing them of missing obvious clues, or, and this is fascinating, they view them as closet collaborators who secretly rely on the sleuths to do the legwork. By spinning this narrative, online communities basically convince themselves that they are the truly dedicated detectives holding the real answers.
Let's get into Section 5, the real-world consequences.
Because look, this digital role-playing doesn't just stay confined to Reddit message boards. It spills over into the physical world with tangible impacts. On the positive side, the thesis points directly to the 2021 Gabby Petito case. Here, the collective efforts of internet sleuths formed this vast, highly dedicated care network. Driven by a genuine desire to find her, this massive public engagement generated a never-ending stream of helpful media links. A perfect, real-world example of what researchers call humanizing forensics.
But man, there is a deeply troubling flip side. Let's go back to the Elisa Lam investigation. A musician named Pablo Vergara, who goes by Morbid, had his life completely turned upside down. Sleuths found his musing on YouTube alongside a 2012 video of him at the Cecil Hotel. Based on literally nothing but cryptic lyrics and sheer coincidence, a massive mob of web detectives experiencing severe tunnel vision just swarmed him with online hate. His reputation was attacked, and his career was nearly destroyed, well before a documentary finally cleared his name years later.
And this highlights the absolute danger of tunnel vision. When sleuths get in too deep, they develop a total blindness to realistic explanations. In the Elisa Lam case, many of them flat out refuse to accept the most likely, tragic reality, an accidental drowning linked to a mental health episode. When their intricate movie plot theories fail, their stubbornness causes them to lose all perspective, and innocent people become collateral damage.
So let's look at Section 6, Balancing Fandom and Justice.
Knowing all of this, both the incredible collaborative power and the deeply destructive potential of these communities, how do we navigate this new era? Well, the research is clear. The justice system simply cannot ignore this phenomenon anymore. Policymakers absolutely need to recognize these new dynamics and implement systems that can manage massive public engagement. We have to find a way to balance public transparency with ethical investigative practices, making sure legal proceedings aren't contaminated by an online mob's personal bias.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The next time you find yourself clicking on a true crime forum late at night, feeling that powerful pull of the rabbit hole, ask yourself, are you really participating in a care network seeking genuine justice? Or are you just caught up in the fascination of the digital chase seeking your own online glory? The distinction matters a whole lot more than we ever realized. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.